Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of A Healthy Dose of Fran. Today the Avatar returns in a look at the Rise of Kyoshi books, but in particular the antagonist that has got everyone buzzing in the Kyoshi fandom. So today I'm going to be talking about the fact that Jianzhu is in fact the greatest villain in Avatar. Okay, I know I've done a video about how Azula is the perfect villain, and I am not disputing that Azula is perfect, and there are so many brilliant villains in Avatar as a whole, like Azula, like Zahir, I forgot his name momentarily. Even Ulok, I could say, is a really interesting villain. And I know we don't talk about book 2, but I've got a lot to say about book 2 in future, so stay tuned for that. But for me, Jianzhu, I think, is the one that intrigues me the most, due to the fact that he is kind of a combination of all the villains that we've seen thus far in Avatar. He has Azula's manipulative and trickster mentality, as well as that quiet madness. He has the compassion and kind of the compelling nature of Amon, in that he can convince people to be on his side. And he has the political savviness of both Kuvira and Zahir, but that is all rolled into one in Jianzhu's character, and done in a way that is both terrifying, mystifying, and just generally intriguing to his character, and to what he represents to our protagonist, Kyoshi. Now, Jianzhu has been kind of a mentor to both avatars, well, technically 3 if we count Avatar Yun, who I put the quote marks because he's a fake avatar. I don't know why I got really sassy with that, but he has been both a friend to Karuk, a leader to Yun, and up until the point that he figured out that Kyoshi was the true avatar, he kind of didn't really have anything to do with her. But the moment he realised who she was, he wanted to train her straight away in the same way he had been training Yun. Awfully. Now, this is kind of the first moment where you start to realise that there is something kind of seriously wrong with Jianzhu. And admittedly, there are moments in the first chapter, but for me, the moment I started to realise that Jianzhu is in this Avatar game for his own means is the moment that his training with Yun takes a dark turn by turning the ground into sharp pipes to make it so that the ground is no longer his friend, so he can focus on trying to firebend. And reading those lines and reading the reaction that Yun has, and just kind of the calm, quiet nature that Jianzhu gives to this moment, you begin to feel this tension build, and this continues throughout the book as we learn more about him, like the fact that he murdered tens of thousands of people by burying them alive. His reasoning? They were criminals. It was all for the greater good. And this is where we see that darkness. But what's really interesting is the mirroring that we get between him and Kyoshi. And this is what I love about Avatar as a whole. The mirroring that we get between our protagonist and villains, like with Zuko and Azula. The mirroring that we get from start to finish is just phenomenal. We see the changes between how their first fight went in Book 2, Episode 1, to the finale and their final battle, and how much they've changed as characters as Azula fell to madness and Zuko rose to power. And we see the same with Kyoshi in various different ways, in that not only does she agree originally with what Jianzhu did to the Yellownecks, because they are criminals, they deserve punishment for their criminal nature, but also from what we know of her in future, from the Lost series and the Lost episodes of Avatar, the Avatar Kyoshi and Avatar Day moments in the series itself, and the fact that she created the Dai Li, there are so many things that connect them together. The main one being their desire to rid the world of evil at any cost. And this is what we begin to see with Jianzhu throughout the story. His need and drive to rid this evil because he feels he has failed. He was the friend of Avatar Karuk. He was meant to be his mentor. Of course, it doesn't help that Karuk is an idiot and the worst avatar of all time. But he failed because Karuk died, and he had to desperately try and find the next avatar. And he failed in that as well the moment he realises that Yun isn't that person. And we see this desperation begin to build because he has gotten used to having this power, this political prowess, the fact that the Earth Kingdom is nearly run by him politically because of his power of being the mentor for the Avatar, of being the friend of the past Avatar and finding the new one. He has all the political power in the world, but the moment Yun is proven to be false, he falls into madness, slowly but surely, because this life that he has built himself is going to slowly fall away. And so his thirst for power leads him to murder, plot, dishonour and commit atrocities that he technically was doing already, but is now at a level that is no longer acceptable, like murdering Kelsang for wanting to take Kyoshi away from Jianzhu's power. The fact that he left Yun for dead the moment he realised he wasn't the Avatar. Or even the fact that he dishonours Rangi by cutting off her fire tail, the bun thing that they have. You guys know what I mean. But by cutting that off, that is considered a sign of true disrespect and dishonour. And he does it to rile up Kyoshi, to bring her under his influence and to force her to bend to his will and to his power so he can continue to have power. His mastery in trickery is phenomenal, and the fact that he is always thinking 2, 3, 7 steps ahead of anything that could happen. He knows that the people hate that he has this power. The people that in the Earth Kingdom with political power or noblehoods don't like that he has this power, and he knows it. So he has been planning for gosh knows how long to make sure that if anything were to happen, if they were to turn on him at any moment, he would have a way to turn the blame on them. And he does just that by poisoning everyone in the room, including his best friend Heiran and himself, and makes it look like someone else did it. Now, I've talked about how Azula is the perfect villain. We know that Zahir is one of the most beloved villains in the Legend of Korra series, and even Kuvira and Amon get their fair share of love. Ozai not so much because he's just a world domination guy and it's kind of boring. But Jianzhu is one of the most fascinating villains because he just doesn't give up. He is willing to murder an entire restaurant of people to make Kyoshi join him. And it just shows that after years of failure and building up this power and failing again and seeing the world continue to fall to crime, like the pirate tribes going on currently, the fact that the Yellownecks are still around, the fact that Kyoshi has even joined a criminal organisation, he has grown bitter and it has broken him. And this is where the mirroring comes in again. And like I said, we get the mirroring, we get it with Zuko and Azula, we get it with Korra and Kuvira. And Kyoshi and Jianzhu are the same, because Kyoshi lives for hundreds of years. She becomes an authoritative and authoritarian avatar figure because she becomes bitter, because the world never changes. It always falls to the villains. And in this case, it nearly fell to Jianzhu, but she wouldn't let it happen. But in the end, Jianzhu still wins, because Kyoshi becomes him. And that's why Jianzhu is a masterful villain. But what do you guys think? Do you agree with me that Jianzhu is one of the most interesting villains in Avatar, if not the greatest? Or do you think I'm talking out my ass and you think someone else is better than Jianzhu? Whatever the case, let me know in the comment section down below. And also, leave a thumbs up if you want to. Before I sign off, I need to give a couple of fantastic shout outs. Firstly, to the artist of today's thumbnail and just generally brilliant Rise of Kyoshi artist, Catchy95, who I absolutely freaking adore. Their artwork is incredible. Go follow them on social media. Just support them as best you can because I love and adore them, and thank you for allowing me to use your art. Links below. I also want to shout out Beyond Portalcast, a joint podcast created by Legend of Portalcast and Beyond Bending, with the hosts of both shows, Colin and Marilyn, where they are talking about Rise of Kyoshi chapter by chapter. And I love it, I love them, you guys are amazing. Please go and support that podcast and support both of their individual podcasts as well. Links for that are down below. Colin, Marilyn, Catchy95, you guys rock. Oh my god, what was that? As always, thank you so much for watching this video. I really do appreciate it. In the description box are the links to my own social media, my merchandise store, and my Patreon. If you want more Avatar content, be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell if you haven't already. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.